Hello and welcome to ETBFSI.com. My name is Amol Dete and I'm going to talk about cryptocurrency today. And I have with me Mr. Nischal Shetty, the CEO of WazirX. Nischal, welcome to this discussion.
Thanks for inviting me here, Amol.
So to begin with, let me ask you a very basic question today. How has been the customer response specifically from India towards cryptocurrency in last 3 to 6 months?
So I think the last 3 to 6 months specifically has been really amazing, and not just the last 6 months. I think the last 12 months have been very amazing for the crypto ecosystem in India, because in March 2020 the Supreme Court removed the banking ban on cryptocurrencies in India, and ever since that we've seen a tremendous growth in the number of people who are entering the whole crypto ecosystem. And the last 3 to 6 months, what has happened is, as you're aware, the cryptocurrency prices have also shot up. So that has further led to a lot more people coming. In fact, we just like WazirX just crossed 1 million users in a few weeks ago, and we are seeing this trend across the sector where all the exchanges and all the products are getting rapid adoption now in the country. So I think net it's been a very positive I would say time for the whole crypto sector right now in India. And it's not just an India phenomena, it's been the same globally as well. Because if you see a lot of other countries, everyone around the world are seeing greater adoption, specifically because all of these, you've heard news about Tesla coming in, Elon Musk tweeting about cryptocurrencies. So every time these celebrities tweet, a large number of new people enter the ecosystem. And that's what has been led to this whole growth recently.
Valid points, Nischal, but let me ask you something very specific. Like you gave a reference of Supreme Court. So Supreme Court quashed what the RBI was saying, but now what has happened is RBI has absolutely kept quiet on this. In fact, the governor had earlier said that they would like to prevent the people from investing into cryptocurrency. They would like to ban cryptocurrency, but they are interested in digital currency. On the other side, the government had somehow said that they are also not in favor of cryptocurrency. Maybe in future they will look at digital currency. Considering all this up and downs, how are you dealing with these uncertainties?
See, I think one of the most important thing, I like to see the fact that our government has now started talking about cryptocurrencies. And I think that's a welcome change, because if you look at, for example, the US, the government has been working with the industry from the last 2 to 3 years, trying to see what's the best way to regulate. So even if our government has started now, I think it's still not too late to start interacting with the crypto industry. And I believe whatever the views are, uh, at a point when the government starts interacting with the industry players and understanding what are the ground realities of cryptocurrencies, how we operate and what are the ways to regulate, I think the government will be in a better position to formulate the right regulation for cryptocurrencies in India. So this is far better than, let's say, the government not talking about anything, not giving any comments about this industry, because then you're in an uncertain phase. And in an uncertain phase, what happens is you won't have like new startups coming up, new entrepreneurs start trying to come up with new products in this sector. So I think I'm very positive that this whole dialogue that the government has is sort of starting up right now. I think as an industry now we are all trying to see how do we get the government to hear our point of view, because once they hear us, I'm sure they will want to regulate this, like how US and EU regions and a lot of Southeast Asian countries, they're already regulating. So I think India is not regulating right now, but I definitely think that our country will start regulating cryptocurrencies.
That's a big hope, Nischal, and let's see there is some clarity on that side from the government. But yes, your point is valid that the government has started talking about it. But are you seeing many challenges right now while dealing with daily operations? Because at one side, when government makes such statements that they would like to prohibit, or they would like to prevent, or they would not like to take part of cryptocurrency, do you see the ripples in the water?
See, absolutely. It's a double-edged sword, because when you suddenly hear and there is uncertainty because no one's clear what direction this will go. So
Hmm.
in the initial days, we saw a lot of our users being troubled by what is going to happen, because if you look at it, India has over 7 to 10 million people who have invested in cryptocurrencies.
Hmm.
And when they hear that there might be a negative direction to this bill, then they're all panicking. So
Hmm.
we saw a few days of panic, in the initial days when there was talk about the bill. But after that, people also realized that the government is not going to simply ban a new technology, which
Right.
no other country has banned it. So why will India ban it? So then what we've seen is then the confidence level has again gone up, where people are thinking, okay, this is probably the start of regulation, and government would want to discuss with the industry before they do something. So let's stay invested. So a few days definitely we saw weakness and investor confidence go down. After that, I think it's again back to it's also to the rise in Bitcoin prices are also to blame for that, because while there is some negative news, but the moment Bitcoin started growing rapidly in price, people again started focusing on the price rise.
So with the price rise, do you want to say that the whatever the panic was there, the panic is over now?
Right. See, the thing is, ultimately, if you look at Bitcoin's history, last even 12 months of Bitcoin, it has been the best investment asset class in the last 12 months in this whole pandemic. And it has given amazing returns. So people, their motivation right now is to find better investment options, because right now there are so many people in India who have lost jobs. There are
Hmm.
so many youth who are trying to find jobs, and new jobs are not getting created. So this seems like one of that option for people, and it's worked out well for a lot of Indians who have invested. It's worked out well in terms of getting better returns in this whole pandemic. So I think that's what is motivating them to stay invested and keep going deeper into cryptocurrencies and understanding what they are.
Have you, by any chance, made any observations or analyzed that how much return that the people or the investor made out of investing in Bitcoin in last maybe or during pandemic? Like you said that they made some returns, right?
So let me tell you this, like I think I don't have real like the correct exact data, but I think in the last 12 months, Bitcoin has gone from about $10,000 to today $51,000. So I
Wow.
think it's an easy 4 to 5 times return in the last 12 months alone. So whoever invested, there's no one who has lost money if they held it even for I think 2 to 3 months. So if you'll understand that, and if someone has been holding for a year, I think they've earned 3 to 4x minimum returns on their investment, and that's huge. That's great returns for someone who's trying out some new technology and they're seeing that this is working out well for them.
Okay. Give me some, rationality here. When RBI says that, they are not very happy with the cryptocurrency, or even government is still, trying to see, I mean, at one side, we can expect that they will regulate it, but on the other side, they are still not very happy with the cryptocurrency. What is holding government back, or what is holding regulator back?
I think the biggest reason is probably the misunderstanding and the misalignment of this whole new technology with how it's going to behave with the existing financial system.
Okay.
So the biggest fear, for example, if you look at even the RBI sphere, has been that cryptocurrency should not come in the way of, let's say, your INR's adoption,
Hmm.
or it should not destabilize our existing economy.
Hmm.
And we as an industry completely believe that. And what we are simply saying is, let's regulate by making sure that our fears are sort of kept aside,
Hmm.
and we look at it from an innovation point of view as well. Now let's take the example of Indonesia. The Indonesian government also, they had a similar problem, which is, what if our fiat currency is replaced by cryptocurrencies?
Hmm. Hmm.
So what they said is, you are not allowed to use cryptocurrencies as a payment instrument in the country, but
Hmm.
you can trade in them and hold it as an asset class. And
Right.
this is something which is very important, because the term cryptocurrency can be confusing to people. They
Hmm.
think a cryptocurrency is like a currency and it is going to compete with the INR, but that's
Right.
not true. Let's take the example of Bitcoin.
Hmm.
Bitcoin is an asset class because there are only limited number of Bitcoin in the world, and there will never be more. So people are treating Bitcoin as an asset class, not as like a replacement to the INR. It's just that the term cryptocurrency is a little confusing, and I think that has to do with all this negativity that we hear about, cryptocurrencies competing with the INR. But that's absolutely not true. And I think with dialogue with the industry, even the regulators will get to know and understand what's the right direction here.
So, Nischal, tell me something more here. Like people you said, getting confused, and everybody's getting confused. Since you're dealing with Bitcoin, and there are more than 200, 300 the cryptocurrencies available all over the world. What is the major difference between the Bitcoin and other currencies, and why do why are you bullish on the Bitcoin more than the other currencies, and why are you, putting Bitcoin ahead of every other currency?
Right. So, let me give a better example out here is the way on the internet you have websites. And while the general term is website, but each website we know has different use cases. That's the exact same principle that is followed in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. So you might have heard of hundreds and thousands of cryptocurrencies, but
Yes.
each has their own kind of use cases and reason for existence. And primary classification is usually cryptocurrencies can be classified into either a currency or a commodity or a security or utility. So these are like the four things. Now, for example, Bitcoin, it comes under a commodity or an asset class kind of a classification where it's limited in number. It follows, it's known as digital gold. People say it's more of a digital gold today. While other cryptocurrency, let's take the example of Ethereum. Ethereum comes more under a utility token. Why is because if you want to run decentralized applications on the Ethereum blockchain, then you need to use the Ether, which is Ethereum's native token or cryptocurrency for paying the fees to run your code. So, the use case of Ethereum's token is to run your software code on their blockchain.
True.
Now that's how these differences, and then every cryptocurrency, if you go deeper, you'll understand they have their own use cases and their own reason for existence. So maybe today we have thousands, but tomorrow we might have millions of cryptocurrencies. The way we have millions of websites, we'll have tons of cryptocurrencies. All we need to do is understand and classify them. What are they under? Are they a currency? Are they a commodity or a security or a utility? So I think this classification is very important for all of us to understand.
Okay. One more point here, Nischal, in terms of regulations, how the global regulators are looking at cryptocurrency because, like Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, even Hong Kong for that matter, are a bit supportive to Bitcoin or even the cryptocurrencies and they have framed regulations. So what is that they are actually regulating and how are they actually looking at cryptocurrency?
Right. So most of the countries, while they have different implementations, I think the general rule of thumb is let's regulate it and not ban it. And the way they've been regulating, let's take the example of US, for example. What US is saying is if you want to, let's say, so there's no law against holding cryptocurrencies, trading or anything. But if you're going to build a cryptocurrency exchange in the US, you're supposed to register there and own a money transmitter license before you can run an exchange. And they also prohibit their US citizens from trading on foreign exchanges so that all the trade in the US remains within their boundaries. Now, similarly, in the UK, for example, they have said the way to regulate this is based on that classification that we spoke about. Let's say if it's a commodity, then the commodities regulator is going to regulate. If it's a currency, then our central bank will regulate. And if it's a security, then the securities regulator. So UK has gone a step ahead saying, based on the classification of cryptocurrencies, they'll come under different regulators. Now, these are again proposed regulations and directions. Ultimately, how this will all shape up, nobody knows because no country has really said that this is what regulations are. All of them are saying, let's work towards it. Because, it's a new industry. It's like 1990, you have the internet. You cannot really possibly understand what sort of regulations to bring in. So what you would do is participate and understand how this is evolving. And that's exactly how I think other countries are doing. And I believe India should also do the same.
Since many people are taking interest, in the cryptocurrency, tell me something more about the challenges that the customers face when they invest in Bitcoin. Have you faced any challenges? Are there any case studies over there?
I'm sure a lot of us must have heard about it. The biggest challenge is the safe custody of your assets, crypto assets, because you must have heard about people losing access to their bitcoins, or not being able to retrieve their bitcoins, or investing in a product where the product then disappears and they've lost all their investment. So I think customer protection becomes like the most important thing, not just us as exchanges, but even countries are looking at how do you protect the wealth of your citizens. And this is probably where regulations will really help, because if in the absence of regulation, what happens is anyone is allowed to build companies. Now you do not know the background of the founders, you do not know how secure the exchanges are. So regulations will help in customer protection, the first thing. The second is, how do you make sure that bad actors do not participate in this? Now, for example, on our exchange WazirX, what we do is we have KYC mandatory. So you cannot anonymously come and buy cryptocurrencies on our exchange. We also do not let anyone deal with cash transaction. It has to be bank transfers. So this again, what happens is this helps us make sure that there's no, let's say bad actors entering or anonymous transactions happening in the crypto ecosystem. So I think that's the second part that every country is looking at, KYC and AML policies to be followed. I think these are the two major things. Then we can definitely get into more like customer education. Without everyone hears about the price rise of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and then they come and invest, and then they realize, oh, this was not the right time to do it. So it's very, very important that as an industry and all of us, we should impart first the right knowledge and make sure that everyone understands what cryptocurrencies are before they invest. I in fact tell everyone, start with 1,000 rupees, don't start beyond that. Biggest misconception that I always hear is Bitcoin is worth 35 lakh rupees, I don't have 35 lakh. I tell the thing is, you can buy Bitcoin worth 1,000 rupees also. It's like gold, you don't have to buy an entire kilo of gold, buy a small piece. So buy a small investment, try it out, and once you're comfortable, then go ahead. Don't jump in with all your money. I think that's like the first important thing everyone in India should understand.
Very well said, Nischal. I think valid points on the cryptocurrency side, and good that explain many things here. I'm sure the viewers and the readers of ETBFSI will benefit, after listening to your views. Thank you so much for talking to ETBFSI, Nischal. Thank you so much.